This question is from Mallory. Have you advice doing security deposit insurance? If so, the pros, cons, etc., please. So this is actually becoming more and more common in the property management industry, and I think a lot of property management companies are seeing it as a profit center. Um, and I don't think that's necessarily what you're contacting me about, unless you're a property manager. Um, so I think the property managers will basically kind of almost like insurance, and we're actually not allowed to sell insurance. Only an insurance agent is. They're basically saying, "Hey, we will. You'll pay me a fee every month. In doing so, you don't have to put a security deposit down." And then the property management company is going to step in and make whatever repairs, and they're hopefully making a lot more because they're getting a lot more paid by that monthly fee. I actually don't like these at all. Because several reasons. One is if a tenant has to come up with first, last, and security deposit, there's a barrier of entry. So it's just not easy to rent a property. I mean, not when you're renting a property now, you didn't get your security deposit back. Now you have to come up with first month's rent, last month's rent, security deposit. That does create a certain barrier of entry, which I think kind of qualifies the tenant a little bit more. But more accurately is our tenants are very much excited to get their security deposits back. So when tenants move out, they do have some questions. They'll say, "Hey, when should I expect my security deposit back?" Uh, or we'll actually use it as a leverage. So as the tenant's approaching the end of their lease, we'll actually reach out to them and say, "Hey, if you happen to move out early," which they often do, reach out to us and we'll get in to do our inspection, and you will be able to process your security deposit that much sooner. And they'll often be excited to do that because they want to get their security deposit back, because it's often a lump sum of money, a larger lump sum of money. So I feel that if without a security deposit, you're basically just saying, "Hey, if you damage this unit, if you're reckless, if you bang the walls every time you bring your bike in and out of the house, uh, there's no repercussions. We're not going to charge you in any way." So the tenants are just going to be a lot more rougher on the house and disrespectful. So the programs that there are out there would be, one is say a property management company is actually kind of taking the money and they're going to make the property right. Or there's a company called Rhino, where they'll basically take the money from the tenant, and they'll make the property right if you make a claim. And I believe Rhino is considered in my industry to be a pretty good company. That I think they actually do kind of. I don't hear any complaints that like they, aren't fixing the properties once they get damaged. But for us, it's about respect. I mean, we really want the tenants to respect the property, and I think without a security deposit, I just don't think you're going to have that respect for it. So I personally haven't done this. I understand why you might want to, because you can get a bigger draw of tenants. They don't have to come up with as much money. So maybe you might be able to get a better quality tenant because they don't have to come up with money. But I just don't think so. I think you're going to get a better quality tenant because they did have to come up with that money. And also, I do think it's important for the tenant to feel that there's repercussions if they damage and they're too rough on a property. We really do want to actually get tenants in place. We always look for tenants in place that make good decisions. So that's our primary thing that we look for when we screen tenants. And we're really just a tenant screening machine. And what we're doing is, when we're screening a tenant, is we're screening them for character. We really want to see that they make good decisions, and that kind of correlates with a tenant that tends to take care of a property, against tenants that are kind of disrespectful and kind of a lot rougher on a property. And I just personally think you would see more of that with any of the security deposit solutions. So I'm sorry, I actually don't have more experience on that. I can tell you it seems to be favored in property management industry with the folks I talk to on the regular. I do believe they actually have good experiences with a company called Rhino. I don't hear a lot of complaints from folks who have done this. I personally don't do it, and I don't think we're going to. First and foremost, we have to take care of the properties. All right. Thanks for your question.